Yeah, yeah. All right, so let's move into the final segment of At Me Bro, and it's you. You have something to say as usual. I mean, Jesus, that's where it is.
People have been bugging me about this since it happened. Big trade we didn't get to cover when it went down, which was Kristaps Porzingis versus Dennis. You should have drafted me instead of Frank Ntilikina Smith Jr. And with other stuff thrown in. There's two sides to this argument. The Knicks won this far and above. Now they're going to get Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving,
Mm,
and the Knicks are idiots. They just threw away the best thing they've done in the past 20 years.
mm,
I think the truth falls a little more in the middle. I'll
mm,
speak about this. First of all, the only thing I'm upset about is that I personally liked Kristaps Porzingis as a Knicks fan. I would have preferred a future where he was a part of our future because I liked his game. I like the way he approaches the game, and I hope to see him successful in Dallas. I'm still a fan. But one question people always asked me, I think you might have even asked me on the show, do you get nervous about Kristaps, going forward because he's 7'3", and we just haven't seen a guy at that height with that build? And I always say yes, but he's here, and that worry doesn't mean anything. I just hope that it doesn't fall apart.
mm,
There's a perspective that it already fell apart for Kristaps Porzingis, and that it's only going to get worse because he's played less and less and less games, and he's had a catastrophic injury already.
mm,
And people might say his game's not predicated upon athleticism. That's not true. He's actually quite athletic at his
He's
height.
very
That's why he's
athletic.
called the unicorn.
Yep.
I do believe he will make a full recovery in the short term, but it is also nice to not have to have my franchise future bet on answering the question, will he ever be good enough to make it through the second half of the season and the playoffs? That's a scary thing. And the word out, and this has been covered a little bit, but not enough. But the word is coming out more and more that the story comes out is that the Knicks wanted to get rid of him. That our new front office guys, bottom to top, they didn't like his medicals and were a little alarmed. And he was being a little moody because of being mistreated during the Phil Jackson era and watching Carmelo Anthony mistreated during the Phil Jackson era.
Mm,
And being good friends with Carmelo Anthony while he was here, held a grudge. Understandable. Didn't show up for his exit meeting, and the organization didn't like that. That was unprofessional on his part because when the boss calls you in for a meeting, you go to the meeting. That's just how it works everywhere. You don't get to say, I don't like the way you've been handling business, boss. I'm just going to Latvia or Spain. It's
mm,
not the way it works. But he's a young guy. I don't hold that against him. I like what the Knicks did. And if this is going to be called a rant, the only rant I would have is the people who are, you know, cheering at the Knicks' demise at this deal. You guys aren't going to get anybody in free agency. You just made a gigantic mistake. If we don't get anybody in free agency, Kristaps Porzingis doesn't change our future beyond adding 15 games of wins during the regular season, which is either a worse draft pick or a meaningless eighth seed, so that we can watch Giannis dunk on us for, 4 or 5 games. So I don't care about that. My argument across all NBA stuff for a while is you have to do two things in today's league. You have to draft well, and you have to nurture that youth and use them wisely, whether it's keeping them like Golden State or moving them like Philly has had to do in some respects, even though some of that is not drafting well. What you can't do is what the Lakers are doing. And I've been giving them crap for this for years. The Lakers drafted poorly, and then every single one of their best draft picks, which at this point are pretty undebatably Kyle Kuzma, D'Angelo Russell, and Julius Randle, they have either gotten rid of or have put into trade talks because of all of the other bad draft picks that they've made and the way they haven't managed and nurtured that talent. The Knicks are out of that business because what's the Lakers' solution? Get rich quick schemes.
Hmm.
I've watched get rich quick schemes ruin the Knicks and Brooklyn for years now, and I'm tired of it. That's what I don't want. As long as they're not signing crappy contracts, I'm totally down for them to spend the next 3 years just watering Alonzo Trier, Kevin Knox, whoever we get from the draft this year, Mitchell Robinson, who I think doesn't get spoken about enough, and now we have Dennis Smith Jr., who, I'm not high on him overall, but I'll say this: the one thing that's changed for me since the draft day was I said I understand, even though we don't know yet, Frank versus Dennis, in the sense of Frank is 6'5" at the time, now he's 6'6", giant wingspan, intelligent point guard. Okay, you think he's going to turn into this, and worst case scenario, he's a defensive role player. Whereas Dennis Smith Jr., worst case scenario, he tries to jump over somebody and his knee pops into the stands, and we never see him play again, right? So at the time, I'm like, I understand why they went low risk in this scenario, even though I also understand why people are saying you should have drafted Dennis Smith Jr. Now, I think both situations are still kind of like, we don't really know yet. Frank shows signs, has grown an inch, appears to be maturing, but his skills are developing slower than we'd like. His aggression is Lonzo Ball-ish, and we don't like that. Dennis Smith Jr. improving as a player, but not a playmaker. I love the fact that his knee has held up, and he's looked mostly very healthy in his time. So I'm not mad at the Dennis Smith acquisition, and I think we've added value to Moutier. So somebody would want to pick him up. I think he'd actually be great in Philadelphia right now.
Hmm.
So all that to say, I'm not mad at the trade. The bottom line is most of our most talented players are barely or not old enough to drink. And I'm not in a hurry to do what the Lakers did and get into a win now timeline where we Julius Randle, D'Angelo Russell ourselves, where we send an all star out of town because we're panicking. That I
Yeah.
don't want.
Well, I don't think that D'Angelo Russell is a needle mover necessarily. So that's just one thing about him. Julius Randle isn't either, but he is one heck of a role player who would be great right now playing with LeBron if he was still there. So that is that. But I think the difference is the Lakers have gone into this mode because they got LeBron, you know, because outside of that, they were building with their youth. That's what they were trying to do. But they got LeBron. He wanted to come to LA. And so it changed everything. And I understand that. I understand that because we're the Lakers and we can do this. And we can jump. Every team can't follow the Lakers model. They can't.
But
The
the Knicks
Knicks
can, and
the
that's why I
Knicks
don't want
the
them to.
Knicks can. The Knicks can because they're the Knicks. It's just that the Knicks haven't got the guy yet. The Knicks haven't got the guy that changes your perspective about the way you want them to build. Um, if they got Durant, that would be the guy. He would be a guy that they could get that people will go, I know we were building for the future, but we got Durant right now.
Yeah,
Who
and
who else can we sign that would say the Knicks can win the championship in 2019-20? You know what
and
I'm
to be
saying?
fair, here's the thing about Durant and Kyrie Irving: they are both younger than LeBron James.
Yes,
Kyrie's a lot younger. Durant's enough younger.
enough
Where
younger.
Durant, 6 years from now, he could still be one of the best players in the league, particularly since he's a shooter and he's so tall.
Yeah,
LeBron James in 6 years, if he's one of the best players in the league, it would be a historical anomaly,
yeah,
and that's the difference.
yeah. So yeah. I mean, I totally get it. I understand. I mean, I just feel like um I don't hate the trade for either team, honestly. I think that Dallas has long been given great respect for their training and conditioning programs. Um, Players love them for that. They take great care of their bigs, especially. And for if I'm Kristaps Porzingis coming off these injuries, that's something that I truly value. And if they're bringing something, a concept to me about extending my career and keeping me healthy and all of that, I'm loving that.
Hmm.
Um, I also think it's great because you have a for them and for him because you have established a culture of uh, building talented European players into superstars. You know, you
Yeah,
started with Dirk. Now Luca's on that same path, and now you get Porzingis to come in right there. So this is something that's they're not all from the same country,
yeah. And
but
even though
they're
he's not a superstar, JJ Barea, throw him in there too.
yeah, JJ.
They did very well with his talent.
Absolutely, did very well with his talent. So I think it can work for both sides. I don't. I think the Knicks did the right thing. Uh, if I'm the Knicks, I don't want to wait on Kristaps or hope Kristaps Porzingis doesn't get hurt either. I don't want to do that. To
Yeah,
me, we've been bad for too long for me to have to sell Kristaps Porzingis' health and sustained health to my fan base for 4 to 5 more years.
yeah.
As someone who is a fan of a team whose superstar was hurt consistently for 3 to 4 years, that's kind of torture, to be honest, because
Hmm.
you always are sitting here wondering and hoping and saying, "Oh well, I hope that man," and you have all these if Kristaps is healthy conversations. You know what I'm saying? And that's just kind of sucks. It just kind of sucks. So I think it was a good thing for the Knicks to do. You can make the argument, did they get enough?
Well,
And
they got a lot of draft picks out of
got the
Dallas,
draft picks, right?
and
So
that is either going to be good players or it's going to be used in further deals. So
yes,
I actually really like the package that they got from Dallas because they basically got complete salary relief.
yeah,
Um, they got a good young point guard. He's our best point guard already, you
yeah,
know.
hmm
So that's an upgrade for us on the floor. He'll be here, so that's fine. And he gives us some flexibility in the draft too, because before we got him, I'll be honest with you, I wanted the Knicks to get Ja Morant so bad.
yeah,
Like that for me in my heart, it was John Morant or Ja. I'm almost saying
uh,
John,
yeah,
Ja Morant or a
hmm
bust for
hmm
me in my heart because he's so talented. But with Smith here, even if Ja Morant turns out to be a better player than Dennis Smith Jr., the key is Fizdale. If Fizdale can turn Moutier, who I was very low on, into an NBA caliber point guard, which he did, Moutier is not a bad basketball player anymore. He can probably turn Dennis Smith Jr. into an all-star. So if Fizdale can work his magic on Dennis Smith Jr., then we get flexibility in who we get, and there's a lot more hits than misses in the draft, and whether or not we even keep that draft pick, depending on who wants to come here in the offseason. And if worse comes to worse, and we just get that draft pick, everybody's like Zion, Zion, Zion. Zion will be fine. He's a good player. I have questions about him being at that height of like earth shattering. But whoever we get out of the talented draft crew, if we have to spend 3 years just getting good with our young guys and signing some veterans to help them, learn the ropes and start winning, I'm fine with that. Totally fine with that because I think we've drafted pretty well.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know if John Morant's there, Dennis Smith or not. I might have to do that business.
Oh,
So
if we could get John Morant,
yeah,
I'm just saying now if we can't get him, if he
yeah,
like goes number one in a surprise and we get the second pick and we wind up with Zion, I'll be honest, before we got Dennis Smith Jr., I would have been heartbroken, but I would have been quiet about it because how crazy everybody is over Zion.
yeah.
Because I think that's possible. I think it's possible that like Phoenix gets the number one pick and they just get John Morant.
I think John Moran is going to go number one.
Yeah.
I think it's going to go and I don't think it has to be Phoenix.
No, it
I,
doesn't. It
I
doesn't.
don't think it has
If
to be
you
Phoenix.
guys got
I
the
mean,
first
as
pick,
long, yeah, they better, they better.
but I think them dummies are gonna get Zion, man. Not that it'd be bad. Zion
I
might
mean,
turn
it's
out to
not
be a
like
better
it's a
player.
bad thing,
No,
but
it's a deep draft. It's a deep draft.
yeah,
It's just what we would want, right? If
yeah,
you see the ability to get a guy who's like a cross between De'Aaron Fox and Russell Westbrook, you want that guy.
I want that guy.
I don't care about the guy, but that's a cross between Kenneth Faried and Sean Marion.
Yeah,
Put him on Phoenix.
yeah.
I want
I
I
like
want the
I
Westbrook
like
De'Aaron Fox guy.
I like Kenneth Fareed, Larry Johnson, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's fine too. That's
I
fine
think
too.
that but Job to me is yeah, I think he changes some stuff.
Yeah, and to be
Yeah,
fair to Zion, Zion has a handle, good defensive player, great nose
good
for the game. I
footwork.
love his enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Yeah, his ability to get to the basket, to rebound, to finish. He does have a lot of Charles Barkley in him. He might be a great player. We've never seen anything like him before, so it's just really, really hard to say because he's such a weird player.
Yeah. And you're just worried about injury and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
But
So
we've seen John Morant and RJ Barrett before,
yeah.
and sign me up.
We
And we
like those
like
results.
we like it. We like it.
Right. So yeah. But yeah, man, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. But that's gonna do it for us today. I appreciate everybody watching as always. Make sure that you keep an eye out for if whatever reason, maybe you skipped around, you got to the end of the show. Remember, we always come back in segments throughout the week. So if you missed those, we'll be back with those. If you did not like the video yet, you forgot, you got so caught up in this awesome conversation, go ahead and do that now. If you didn't share the video yet and you want to do it, go ahead and do that now too. But for books and for my producer who had to dip out, my wife, I appreciate everybody watching. Like I said, God bless and peace.